Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags, and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good afternoon. It is July 25th, 2018. I'm Eric. I'm here at shtfplan.com. Millionaire Democrat wants to tax parents with more than 2 kids as irresponsible breeders. There's another one of these eugenicists here. Can't make out his name. Scott Wallace. This comes from Max Laval, by the way. A Democrat congressional candidate in Pennsylvania has desires to tax parents who have more than 2 children as irresponsible breeders. Well, you know, the thing is our birth rates have already declined by a significant amount. At the rate we're at now, there's not hardly any people being born, not enough to replace us. So why? Why would he want to do that? Because he hates people and he hates you. He's one of these people that want to kill 95% of all humans on Earth, so that he and people like him may inhabit the Earth without too many peasants to get in their way of the things that they want to do, apparently. You know, like live forever. That's one of their big things, where they're seeking out immortality. Apparently they don't understand the epic of Gilgamesh. Otherwise, if they did, then they would know seeking immortality is useless. Your soul is already immortal. Who needs a body? Have you ever had a toothache? I'll tell you what, a bad enough toothache, that will drive you fucking insane. So fuck having a body. I would rather live as a ball of energy than a human being anyway. Scott Wallace is a population control zealot who has donated over $7 million to population control groups. Wallace is also supported and endorsed by both Planned Parenthood and NOW, National Organization for Women. According to the Daily Wire, Wallace, a millionaire and Democrat who believes in taxing families with more than 2 kids for being privileged, also believes that the tax would be on the privilege of irresponsible breeding. I'm going to hit this one last paragraph here and maybe jump to something else. Between 1997 and 2003, Wallace gave $420,000 to Zero Population Growth, now Population Connection, an organization co-founded by Population Bomb author Paul Ehrlich, a Fox News reported. So, you see, the thing is a lot of the people that he's talking about taxing, they're already poor. They're already poor people. And I don't see how taxing them something they can't pay anyway is going to help anything. I'm just saying. So, there's a lot more to cover, a lot more to talk about. And I just covered this story here, but I'll mention the headline. Rothschild-connected billionaire arrested for role in NXIVM child trafficking sex slave ring. Well, that's a mouthful to say, but Man, these people are fucking... They need to be hung. That's the important thing. They need to be hung. But with enough money, you can pretty much buy your way out of anything. Although I'm pretty sure that these people will be in a federal prison for some time. They'll probably still get a hell of a deal for the shit they did. So, a cop tries to kill a suspect by firing into Trader Joe's front door and instead kill an innocent woman. That's, their superb training in action. But, as long as they got the guy that was holding up the store in the first place, I guess it's okay. Justifiable, right? That's what police apologists would say. Oh, it's justifiable. They had to kill her to get to the bad guy. Yeah. Bad guy. Alright. Army Colonel warns false flag Gulf of Tonkin incident may be used to get U.S. into war with Iran. Of course. That's how it works, right? We're going to talk about this one here. It's like false flags happen to get our fucking guns. Or, what I mean, our fucking guns. I mean, your fucking guns. Damn it. Army Colonel warns false flag Gulf of Tonkin incident may be used to get U.S. into war with Iran. This comes from Matt Argust. Cold coffee. Yummy. Often, the American mainstream media becomes a de facto government employee, taking the claims of the U.S. officials and reporting them as proven fact. Like WMDs, babies being dumped on the floor of hospitals in Kuwait. That kind of fact. And nothing exemplifies this penchant better than reporting on the Gulf of Tonkin incident, perhaps one of the most flagrant lies ever dreamed up as a justification for war. On August 5th, 1964, the New York Times reported President Johnson has ordered retaliatory action against gunboats and certain supporting facilities in North Vietnam after renewed attacks against American destroyers on the Gulf of Tonkin. Additional outlets such as the Washington Post echoed this claim. But it wasn't true at all. In fact, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, as it became known, turned out to be a fictitious creation courtesy of the government to escalate war in Vietnam, leading to the deaths of tens of thousands of U.S. troops and millions of Vietnamese, fomenting the largest anti-war movement in American history and tarnishing the reputation of a nation once considered at least somewhat noble in the eyes of the world. See, what these guys have failed to do in this article, and it grinds my gears. I like their articles. I wouldn't cover them otherwise, but they're not really tying it to the people they should be. And they're using the Gulf of Tonkin incident as the example. But there's a better example, because after all, any war with Iran is going to be started by Israel. Israel is the key here. Let me find this right quick. Alright, so I found some random article. It's Haaretz.com. Haaretz. I guess I can leave the link in the description box. But sir, it's an American ship. Never mind hit her when Israel attacked the USS Liberty. Now this is a much better example, because after all, what the fuck, man? I've already accepted. Why is this shit still on my screen? Bert. Get the fuck out of here. What was I saying? Yeah. Now Israel, it seems, needed some help with the Arabs and committed this false flag attack, or this flagrant attack really, on one of our ships, the USS Liberty. So the subheading here, subtitle, in quotes, the Americans have findings that show our pilots were aware the ship was American, a newly published document by the State Archives says. Amid the Jubilee celebrations for the Six-Day War, the tragic story of the American spy ship USS Liberty, which was bombed by an Israeli fighter jet and torpedo boats on June 8, 1967 in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, which was somewhat overlooked. 34 American sailors were killed in the Israeli attack, and many others were wounded. Israel apologized and paid compensation to the victim families. The Israeli and American Commission of Inquiry found that the attack was a mistake. But naturally, as often happens in such events to this day, there are some who believe Israel attacked the ship with malicious intent. A conspiracy, healthy suspicion, call it what you will. A new book published in May in the United States promises that the truth is being told as never before and the real story revealed. The 302 pages of Remember the Liberty, almost sunk by treason on the right or high seas, include quite a number of documents, testimonies, arguments, and information that were gathered in the subsequent 50 years. And this is where I will end this particular topic, but the author's bottom line is that then U.S. President Lyndon Johnson was behind the attack in an attempt to blame the Egyptian President Nasser, an excuse that would enable the United States to join the Six-Day War. So that's what that was about. And, Israel needed help in the Six-Day War, so what they did was attack the USS Liberty and tried to draw the United States into that conflict. And, of course, the president at that time, Lyndon Johnson, allowed it to happen. And there's much more to the story than that, but that's, the nutshell. So back to this, no, was it this? This one. Back to this article. They referred to the Gulf of Tonkin incident, but the thing is, we should also consider Israel committing some kind of false flag to draw the United States into this future conflict with Iran. Now, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. They are going to invade Iran. Need I remind you of what Wesley Clark outlined there on, I believe it was Democracy Now! I'll tell you what, I'll put the clip of that at the end of this video if you need reminding. So, be expecting something like this to happen, because the president is going to need a pretty good reason to actually invade a country, and without that reason, he may get a great deal of opposition from world leaders, along with people here in the United States. But it's going to happen. Make no mistake about it. And of course, Syria is going to go down at that same time as well, so that they can balkanize Syria, giving Israel a handsome chunk of it, so that they can expand their Nazi Jewish state. Isn't that strange? They behave just like those Nazis. Probably because a Nazi or a Jew created, communism and Marxism and Nazism. So, what they did is throw millions of their own people under the bus so that they can acquire the homeland of their people. So, very nice of them. Hope everyone has a great day. Remember, kill the state before the state kills you.
10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement. Whether that was the specific motivation for the coup or not, I can't tell you, but there's always been this attitude that somehow we could intervene and use force in the region.